their tomatoes are ready to grow again, and ready to go onto the shelves again in March. So that's amazing. You don't have to buy a mealy, tomato that you're not happy with. You can get a local product if you search out Floor Lane tomatoes. The Elmira Produce Auction Cooperative. Now, back in, was it 2004 that the BSE thing happened? The bovine spongiform encephalopathy, I think it was way back then. No cattle could come out of the country. Mennonite farmers needed to find a way to make money, but they couldn't get their cows out to market. They just about lost their farms. What they did was, they said, we're going to grow some produce. We're going to start growing stuff that we hadn't grown before, plants, right? Stuff that doesn't have to worry about these bad illnesses. And they didn't know how to sell them, so what they did is they banded together into this co-op. It was the first one in Canada. And now they have this produce auction every week where they bring their produce in, it's auctioned off, the auctioneer takes the money, takes a cut, gives the rest to the farmer. So this was an innovative thing in Canada, and it was Mennonite driven. It was our Mennonites, the horse and buggy people that we know and love here in the Waterloo region. Elmira Produce Auction is just a great component of the food culture of Waterloo region. Of course, Martin's Apples, St. Jacob's Farmers Market are other things that are close to our heart. St. Jacob's itself is that huge tourist town. Benjamin's Restaurant, Stratford Chef School trained chef there. Jess is a great chef. Koken Cafe is a Danish place on the main drag, and he does some really interesting Danish food. Now, he just hasn't said, oh, I want to cook Danish food because no one else is cooking it. He is a Dane. His mother's from Denmark, and she's taught him a lot of recipes, and they have some classic dishes from their country, and they're sharing it with our culture. And I think that's probably unique, and it's not IKEA, which I know is Swedish. But Timeless Bakery and Cafe. We're heading back now to Waterloo again, back home. They have a great lamb sandwich. It's on Northfield Drive. It's tucked out of the way. It's where Timeless Materials is, and there's a cafe there now. It is wonderful. It's just great. They've got 2 great chefs in the back. They've been in the region for a couple of years, and they know exactly how to cook, and they're doing a good job. I wanted to run past you this idea about the Oliver and Bonacini, why it failed, but I'm mindful of the time, so I'm going to skip over because I think we're good. Why do you think it failed? Was it too expensive? Was it low location? Okay, here's the myth. Do you want the myth? There's a myth that a couple guys from RIM, Blackberry, brought some Chinese visitors to visit the facilities, took them out for lunch, and went to this Oliver and Bonacini place. Apparently, the guests were horrified that they were being brought to a mall and thought this was just horrible. And the myth is that RIM now could never go back to Oliver and Bonacini. I don't know if that's true or not. It sounds kind of wonky to me. But what is true, I think, is why didn't they build access to the restaurant from the mall? So why did I need to tell you that then? I don't understand. I can't figure out, if I wanted to go to that restaurant, I sometimes had to park, like in the farthest corner, walk all the way through, and then I couldn't even go through the mall to get there. It was absolutely absurd. And I know Michael Bonacini on a sort of, not a professional basis, but sort of a charity kind of basis. We've worked together on some things, and he's not very forthcoming with what happened there. The huge floor space, the cost of the build-out, and I wonder if there wasn't a little bit of pride there that, we're Toronto, we're going to show Waterloo Region how to do it. And I think Waterloo Region turned right around and said, up yours, Michael, pardon me, and said, we're Waterloo Region, we know what we are doing. We've got Wildcraft, which is like your restaurant. We've got Rush's, which is like your restaurant. We've got Nick and Matt's Uptown 21, which is like your restaurant. And I think it was a sort of a defining moment. I don't know what the truth is. I don't know about the myth. I don't know what the reasons are. But to me, that pretty much establishes us as having our own identity. And I think you people, the shoppers there, the clients there, I think you've got a good feel for food here. And when they're a little bit off the beaten path in terms of price, in terms of size, and in terms of access point. It was just really, I think, hubris that doomed them. So we are heading home again. And we're back to Waterloo. And we're taking all these directions into mind, north, east, south, and west. Which way is Waterloo Region and food going to go? I think there's a couple of routes that we're going to travel on. I think they're going to happen all at the same time, and I think that's a good thing, and I think they're going to be absolutely delicious. But what can you do to make the good the best? Well, make an investment. Supporting local farmers and producers. This is the proselytizing the politics of it. Support our farmers and producers. If there's a market, they will grow it. I'll give you 2 examples here. A couple of years ago, Trevor Hurley wanted to grow edamame, you know, the things you eat at sushi. Yeah. He wanted to grow these little baby soybeans. So he grew a little wee patch in one corner of an acre, and he sold out. And he couldn't figure it out. So then he grew another, and he grew another, and he grew another. Now he's selling edamame. Edamame. I mean, who would know, right? Stavanis Family Farms. I didn't know okra was grown in southwestern Ontario. Okra's in Caucasian gumbo. It's that funny little bean-like thing, and it's got a compound in it that when you put it into a soup, it makes it really, really thick, right? It's a thickening agent, but he sells okra. I mean, this is truly amazing to me. He found a market for it. When the market was there, he planted, he was able to sell it. That's the key. So what we need to do is support them in that respect. Say, I want more abattoirs. I want more fresh meat without antibiotics in it. I want more vegetables like this. Build a market, and they will come. Invest in our restaurants and our chefs. It's a huge part of our economy, taking us back to our earlier slide. $1 is $1.85 for the rest of the economy. Yes, cook at home, enjoy your family in your backyard. Be selective about the restaurants you go to. Be selective about where you're shopping for your food. Do you pick a chain over a Nick and Nat's? I let you decide that, but it is a political choice that you're making. Make a commitment. At the same time, demand better quality and demand better variety. But also, I think you need to be willing to pay for it. And here's another example. People know Borealis restaurant? Borealis is a good restaurant because it's trying to be more than a restaurant. It's trying to be an environmental leader, sustainability, proper food handling, food waste management, bullfrog power, using local producers. He's got a great longhorn cattle producer in Tilsonburg called U Ranch, great family again, within the 100 miles and all that kind of stuff. These are majestic, beautiful beasts with the big long horns. They stay outside all winter long. They're just really, really hardy. He gets their ground beef from them to make his hamburgers. By the time he prepares it, he's got to charge almost $18 for the hamburger. The guy down the street at Finn McCool's or whatever it is, nothing against them, but their hamburger isn't as expensive. It's $12 for the hamburger, and the guy's making more money on that $12. But what are you eating? You don't even know where that hamburger came from. In one hamburger patty that you buy at the grocery store frozen already, it probably came from 100 different cows. This is the reality of our industrial food system. The Tilsonburg guy and Borealis, the team partnership that's there, is not the industrial food system. It's the way food used to be grown in our grandmother's time, where she used to go and meet the guy who has the chicken. I remember my grandmother bringing chickens home, live chickens home, and she'd wring their necks in the basement. And I'm serious. This is why my father's a psychiatrist. Finally, make a culinary culture. Make a way for food to become part of our culture in a much deeper way than just sustenance. It can be business. It can be good commerce. There's nothing wrong. I want to see all the restaurants make good money. Those people should not have to be working like I did for $4.50 an hour, right? Everybody can do really, really well in this system if we all support it. Everyone like the rancher that has the cows, the restaurants that are trying to, reduce their power, low flush toilets, recycling. That's a huge problem for restaurants. They can't do it. Tips are expensive for restaurants. All these things all add up. But I think by the group of us, all 500,000 of us in Waterloo region, making these kinds of decisions can make culinary tourism a huge part of this region, because we have all the elements. We've got the farmers, we've got the restaurants, we've got the education system in Conestoga College, nearby Stratford, Liaison. We've got all of the components. Put them all together, and we can have a really, really wonderful culinary culture that includes food tourism. People are going to come to this region because there's great food here, there's great producers here, there's a great market here, there's a great energy for food. So it's business, education, entertainment in food. And look at that, we're done.